Okay, if you work in a dental practice, you know there's one task that is just a universal time sink: reconciling insurance claims. So today, we're going to dig into why this process is such a headache, but more importantly, how a little bit of automation can turn that whole headache into a really powerful advantage for your practice. Let's get started. I mean, does this scene right here look familiar? A desk just buried in explanation of benefits forms, you've got a single bulk check from an insurer, and then you've got that long, slow process of matching every single little payment to the right patient. This isn't just a familiar scene, it's costing practices way more than just frustration. Just think about it. Losing half a day every single week to what basically feels like detective work. That is the reality for most dental practices. We're talking 4 to 6 hours spent buried in paperwork and spreadsheets, just trying to connect all the dots between the payments and the patients. And, it's not just about the time you're losing. The real cost? Well, when the process is this manual, things are bound to fall through the cracks. We're talking about denied claims that just never get followed up on, and that can lead to an average of $1,000 to $3,000 in lost revenue every single month. That's money you've already earned, but you never collect. All right, so let's really break down this reconciliation headache. Why is this seemingly simple task of matching a payment to a procedure so consistently frustrating and so difficult? Well, pretty much everything revolves around this one document, the explanation of benefits, or the EOB. You can almost think of it as the Rosetta Stone of dental billing, right? It's the insurance company's official story of what they paid, what they didn't, and why. It has all the answers, but you have to know how to read it. And here's where it gets tricky. This is the core of the challenge. See, insurers don't send one nice, neat little check for each patient. Of course not. Instead, you get one giant bulk payment that might cover 15 different people, and each of them has their own procedures and balances. It's this complex one-too-many puzzle that somebody has to solve by hand. So why does it have to be done by hand? It really comes down to what we call the disconnected data problem. At its heart, the two most important pieces of software in your office, your clinical system and your accounting system, they're just operating in two completely different worlds. They don't talk to each other. And this, right here, shows that disconnect perfectly. On one side, your practice management software knows all the clinical details. Sarah Johnson got a crown, and her insurance owes $425 for it. Simple enough. But then on the other side, your accounting software, it only sees the financial data, a big lump sum deposit of nearly $4,000 from an insurer. There's just this massive information gap between the two. So here's the bottom line. A person, a human being, has to become the bridge between these two totally separate systems. And that someone is usually your practice manager, who is then forced to spend hours, and I mean hours, painstakingly connecting every single payment to every single procedure, cross-referencing EOBs with patient ledgers and bank statements. It's not just tedious, right? It's an absolute recipe for errors. But what if you could build a better bridge? An automated one that connects that clinical and financial data for you instantly and accurately without anyone having to lift a finger? Let's explore how that actually works. Now, while the technology doing the work is pretty complex, the process itself is actually beautifully simple. It just breaks down into 3 key steps. First, the system automatically pulls in all the financial data. Second, it intelligently matches every single line item from the EOB to the right patient and procedure. And third, it creates simple, clear reports on what needs your attention. And the best part? For you, the user, it just works. This digital bridge does its thing quietly in the background, making sure every single dollar is posted to the right account for the right reason, and it does it instantly. No more manual data entry, period. Okay, let's talk about the first huge payoff here, finding all that lost revenue we mentioned earlier. This is where automation really shines, turning hours of frustrating detective work into a simple report you can act on in just minutes. To make this super real, let's just think about a single denied claim. It could be for something like $280. Now, in a manual system, that EOB with the denial, it gets put in a pile for later. But we all know that later often never comes. So that $280 your practice earned just vanishes because no one had the time to chase it down. But with an automated system, that lost claim has nowhere to hide. It can't get buried in a filing cabinet, nope. Instead, it pops right up on a super clear report just like this one. And check this out. It's prioritized by how much money is on the line, and it even suggests the very next step to take. What used to be a huge mystery becomes a simple, actionable to-do list. It's a total game changer. Now, beyond just saving time and getting that lost money back, automation can unlock a whole new level of strategic insight. It finally lets you answer one of the most fundamental questions for your business. Which of our insurance plans are actually profitable? Because let's be real for a second. Are all of your PPO plans created equal? I mean, you might be in network with a half dozen different insurance companies, but can you say for sure which ones are true partners and which ones are kind of dragging down your bottom line? A chart like this makes the answer shockingly clear. For the exact same crown procedure, look at the difference in reimbursement. Blue Cross pays $850, while Cigna pays only $750. That's a $100 gap for the exact same work, the same materials, the same chair time. Now, just imagine multiplying that difference across hundreds of procedures a year. The impact on your revenue is massive. All of a sudden, you're empowered. You can see your most and least profitable plans in plain black and white. You have hard data to bring to the table when you're negotiating contracts. You can make smart, strategic decisions about which networks to partner with. You basically stop guessing and you start knowing. So when you put it all together, what does this really mean for your practice's day-to-day workflow? It means that 6-hour weekly ordeal of reconciliation becomes a simple 15-minute review. That's it. And that adds up to over 20 hours a month that your team gets back. 20+ hours of high-value time that can be put back into things that actually grow the practice, like improving patient care, training your team, or focusing on marketing. And that really leads us to our final question. If you had an extra 20 hours every single month, that's like an extra half week of productive time for your team. What would you do with it? The possibilities there are what make moving past this manual headache so incredibly powerful.